sitting here watching as people came in. I love the energy of this room, to watch people crisscrossing, saying hi, rekindling perhaps acquaintances and friendships. If I may, I guess, be more formal, thank you for being here tonight. Welcome to our celebration of distinction. So grateful that you've taken the time to be here. We missed a year, and so we have a need to celebrate. I feel the need to celebrate, but we have plenty of reasons, as you can see, to celebrate. And I'm grateful to be here. I just want to recognize some of the people who are here with us. So I'm Peter Forsgren, President of the Board of Education. We have here as well our Superintendent, Mr. Brett Provenzano. We have members of the selection committee as well. If they don't mind standing up, they were led by Mr. Mark Lincoln, already standing in the background, and appreciate all the hard work. In the selection committee, I guess they were standing already. They were out and about handing out programs, but thank you for making all this possible tonight. It's a wonderful, again, opportunity. Recognize Ms. Jennifer Lunsford, our representative from the New York State Assembly. And did I mention the jazz quartet at all? I'm not sure if I did that yet. Thank you so much for setting such a wonderful atmosphere. Obviously, we're here for the inductees, and so I'm not going to introduce them because we were going to get to that. That's the whole purpose for tonight. If I may, though, I hope you don't mind, take a few minutes to talk about that word, distinction, distinguish. I found the etymology of a word can be quite fun, not just educational, but quite fun, learning about it. And the first known use of the Latin word that's associated with distinguish is about the 15th century. And it meant to, make sure I get it right, to separate by pricking. Now, can you imagine if we had the wall of separation by pricking? That doesn't have the ring, so thankfully we have a single word for it, distinction, distinguish. And that's what we're here. But what does that mean when you think about that word? You know, why was something separated by pricking? What is it in life that allows people to grow, right? Isn't it the challenges, the endurance, the perseverance, growing, learning, but then to distinguish, to turn around, and I think that's representative of these people here tonight that we're celebrating, to share with love and concern and kindness and embracing differences, all who come into contact so that they've improved the human condition one person at a time. And that's what distinguishes so many of the individuals we celebrate, is that they do that. They turn around and make life so much better. I think that's a challenge to do in this district simply because I have such a high regard for our staff and the community that to separate yourself from a group of individuals who are already of such high quality, they've had to go above and beyond, if you will, to be distinguished. And they are. Now think about the variety that's represented here as well. You can look at the list on your program of past inductees, which is quite a list. And as part of that, there's a large variety of the types of positions that are needed to run a district of this size. And tonight is no different. We have administrators, secretaries, paras, transportation, sentry, teachers, a square dance instructor, which there's much more than just that, but I just love that element of connection here with the school district, right? As this is what it takes to run a district that is dedicated to educate every child that walks through our doors. And it's more than just walking through our doors because we have to get them here, the transportation. We need to keep them safe, the sentry. We need to provide wraparound services so that regardless of that background and everything they bring, and some with ACEs and challenges, they're able to feel loved and concerned, and that happens with our teachers and paras. Administrative type things, they keep us focused and going in the right directions with secretaries. Otherwise, we'd have 1,000 individuals with 5,500 students, and it'd be a bunch of chaos in the schools, but it's not. It's always moving in a great direction. And so we're here to celebrate all of that, those who have dedicated themselves and impacted the lives, that have made it fun, enjoyable, that have allowed connections to be made, and have touched individuals. And so thank you for celebrating with us here tonight. I welcome you officially, and I will turn the time over now to our superintendent, Mr. Provenzano.
Good evening, and thank you. It's pretty overwhelming. You know, last year we were in here, right? And we had, a choice. We could have said, well, maybe we can do something different. Maybe we could think about honoring our important community members in different ways, but we said no. We said we're going to continue to move forward. We're going to continue to persevere. After a year reprieve, we are humbled and grateful to be here tonight at the Education Wall of Distinction, honoring the meaningful contributors of our Fairport educators. Tonight we are here recognizing two very important special classes. The class of 2020, I just want you to come up and say hello when I introduce you. Amy Samuel. Deborah Doherty. John Kidd. Oh, you switched it up. Patricia Cantwell. Richard Green. And in this class, who is not able to be with us here this evening, is Mrs. Kate Carr. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Class of 2021, we have Bill Tiberio. Jin Zumbo. Joan Rogers. Midge Marshall. And Mike Callahan. 19th century writer and social commentator Mark Twain was always able to accurately capture the essence of important social and cultural phenomenons like public education. He said to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is success. I'm in the middle of my 17th year here in Fairport. This is my 7th year as superintendent. I can confidently assert, having had the opportunity to gain perspective in other fine communities, neighboring communities. But Fairport is special. It has a palpable pulse and heartbeat that cannot be replicated or rivaled. Our Fairport schools are sacred places that resonate with a unique spirit that can only be found right here in this school community and in this evening. Our current Board of Education and past boards have recognized and supported programs with this singular purpose in mind. We value the intangibles and pay homage to those things that we can't always measure precisely. 18 years ago or so, Board of Education President Matt DiRizio and the Board of Education had this vision of prioritizing and honoring people who made the magic of our Fairport schools happen. And I underscore, this was supposed to be about all people. Mr. Forsgren was mentioning the wide range of people we are celebrating here tonight. All roles are celebrated. Matt DiRizio, right now, Matt is smiling upon us this evening, and the originators of the Education Wall of Distinction are also standing proud as they clearly understood that individual efforts and caring hearts make the difference in supporting environments so our students can flourish and thrive. We are gathered here for the 15th time at the Education Wall of Distinction with this vision firmly intact. It is continually being played out as we come together to honor professionals who have had the ideas of brotherhood and sisterhood and care in all its forms running seamlessly through their veins. We recognize that our staff are precious. You're resources that inspire our students and each other to want to do and be better for our school community. As you will all come to realize very soon, in each of their domains in education, and you are an educator if you work and contribute to our children. These 11 individuals have gained the admiration of countless children and families as well as their colleagues. These educators are always striving to make the Fairport family connections with students and adults in unique and significant ways, whether on the playing fields, the auditoriums, in the classrooms, our offices, or in our transportation vehicles. The setting does not matter. But guess what? The children and the adults do matter. These honorees make connections no matter the students' abilities, needs, or backgrounds. They show all students they have lives filled with hope and promise and purpose. We are proud and humble to be here celebrating with you and to call you colleagues and friends. It's really cool. I know your stories. I truthfully, I just met Midge really quickly, right, for the last 2 days, and but I've worked with all of you up close and personal, and I'm really proud to be a part of your stories here. It's our way to say thank you. Thank you for realizing and seeing the bigger picture. Thank you for being willing to share your hearts and your passion and your vision. In Fairport, we don't hesitate to say we love you. We don't hesitate to talk about this unconditional love, this concept that we're always trying to strive to achieve. Their actions have brought them here, and they've embodied those enduring concepts and themes, and it's just such a proud moment to be a part of this, whether it be tirelessly working through the logistics of transporting students to and from activities, sharing your special gift or talent, and there's many up here, imparting your humor, spreading your passion and love of the arts, consistently showing up and going above and beyond to support a teacher and a student, making sure that the finer details of the day are in order so members can flourish, or working directly with students and coaches on the playing field. These educators have left their mark in a unique and special manner that is worthy of recognition and emulation. We all try to be like you. It makes us, again, want to do and be better. And it's the very reason why we got into the fields of education. To our Honorable Wall of Distinction Committee members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to preside over tonight's celebration. And I know that Mr. Forsgren acknowledged you in the beginning, but if you're here, please raise your hand. I know that no speeches, don't worry, we'll get you. In particular, we want to thank the chair of this wonderful committee, Mark Lincoln. We thank and acknowledge the work of the entire committee, who among other roles have arranged the refreshments and decorations for the various honoree gatherings. Again, Mark Lincoln is the chairperson, Tony Exton, Jerry Lynn Boynton, Elizabeth Puckett, or Beth Puckett, Peter Forsgren, Bob Clark, Susan Casement, who is not here tonight, and who I've had the opportunity to talk with, and she's inspired parts and components of my opening remarks. Make sure you tell her I told her that. Tom Palma, Tracy Tingu, and Erica Santoro. Please give these wonderful community members, school community members, a big round of applause. There are 84 past inductees on the Educational Wall of Distinction. If you're a former member of this distinguished recognition, please stand up and be recognized right now. Please stand, don't be shy. It's a special night that they come back to recognize and celebrate their colleagues. I have to say to our Board of Education, it starts right with you. Thank you for empowering us all to recognize the importance of celebrating each other. It doesn't happen without your priority to position professionals to make a difference. The stories of our nominees make us want to be better for each other and our students and live up to the time-honored values of our school community. Tonight we are hearing the stories as depicted from our student reps. They will be the stars of the show. It's amazing how the time they've spent, they're going to be able to capture the essence of who these wonderful inductees are. Sophie O'Connery is going to, will share how Patrice Cantwell organized the day in many district offices with a definable spirit and energy that made everyone feel mattered and welcome. Sam Walker, you can say hello when you're, sorry, I should have said that in the beginning. Sam will present how Deborah Doherty's positive presence and good humor earned the trust, respect, and admiration for those she served, while always keeping the ship afloat in all circumstances. And if you've been in that office, there's all sorts of circumstances that arise. Aiden Sachs, just off the cross-country trail, has the honor of speaking to the heart and soul of Richard Green, who for 15 years was an inspirational ray of light and a beacon of hope, good humor, and enthusiasm. The adjectives can keep rolling, right? 16 years. I didn't count that last year. Sarah Grover. Sarah will speak to the inner qualities of Kate Carr, who's not here tonight, who has a deep-seated commitment to the education profession. She will also convey how John Kidd's compelling why translates into doing so many little things that add up to his colleagues and for those who rely on transportation services. And this past year, or especially the past 2 years, we've truly understood why and how those are such vital and essential components of our work. Tori Wilson. Tori will be talking about Amy Samuel's warm and welcoming character traits that make her a trusted adult who will go out of her way to show heart, compassion, and concern for all students. Julia Finkbeiner has the honor of capturing the essence of Mike Callahan's 35-year passion with square dance and how this passion seeded the fondest of memories for Fairport students. Everyone knows about the hoedown showdowns. He's behind it. Maggie Donner. Maggie will introduce Midge Marshall and share how her joy and enthusiasm for theater and the arts instituted the rich legacy found in our schools today. And in fact, there is a performance, opening night is Thursday night. It's very appropriate that we're celebrating you because you started it. Mahogany Bailey will share how Joan Rogers' love and investment in her community makes the world a better place for teachers and the students that she serves. She does this by building relationships that connect beyond school years and that connect beyond school lessons. Ever Gavalis will depict Bill Tiberio's soulfulness that is unique only to Bill Tiberio, and who exponentially translates into life-defining moments for his students and our Fairport students and community. Sophie Startari, will articulate how Jim Zumbo's investment and unwavering stewardship of everything Fairport and Fairport athletics influenced countless students' lives, cultivated our school spirit, and united our community to this day. Tonight, again, we are affirming the gifts that Amy, Deborah, John, Kate, Patrice, Bill, Jim, Rich, Joan, Midge, and Mike have bestowed upon countless colleagues and children in our Fairport schools. We anticipate hearing their stories and celebrating in their joy tonight. You guys ready to do this? First up, we will have Patrice Cantwell and Sophie Mulconnery. Please come to the podium.
Good evening. Tonight it is my privilege to honor Mrs. Patrice Cantwell. We celebrate Mrs. Cantwell for 24 years of dedicated service to Fairport Central Schools. She began her career in the guidance department at Martha Brown. From Martha Brown, she traveled to Minerva DeLand. There, she worked as the secretary to the assistant principal. Her career took her next to Fairport High School's Red House, and then finally back to Minerva DeLand, where she finished her tenure as secretary to the principal. She was described by her colleagues as a beacon of positivity and realness within Minerva DeLand's main office. Mrs. Cantwell grew up in Utica, New York, which is also where she met her husband, Bob, as a 15-year-old high school student. Together, they moved to Virginia, but didn't find the community they were looking for. In Fairport, they found a strong, close, family-oriented community and home. From reading and listening to the praises by her colleagues and speaking with Mrs. Cantwell, I came to understand the presence and energy she brought to our schools. She was described as having an innate way of making the most difficult days seem carefree. Her sense of humor and energy are illustrated by a story she shared. She loves April Fool's Day. She is known for her unforgettable pranks. The year she learned Mrs. Kyle was scared of birds, she came in early and put fake crows in her window. Mrs. Kyle's reaction was a classic scream, which surely brought a smile and laugh to the office. Mrs. Cantwell shared that she appreciated the everyday moments and encounters she had with students and colleagues, and was lucky enough to work with and be in the presence of the best staff every day. She cherishes the unique moments and experiences with Fairport students. Her favorite moments include trips to New York City and Whiteface, and attending student plays, musicals, and concerts, especially the holiday ones. Mrs. Cantwell is grateful for her mentors, specifically mentioning the principals and assistant principals she had the opportunity to share her days with. She expressed an appreciation for the opportunity to share her days with dedicated coworkers, administrators, teachers, and especially Fairport students. She thanks her family, including her husband, 3 sons, and their families. Please join me in recognizing Mrs. Cantwell. We thank you for the countless impressions that you have made on so many here in Fairport, and most of all, we wish you congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Again, these students just met our inductees, and they just do a wonderful job of just capturing, what we all try to think and what we all feel. But if you walk into the office, any office that Patrice, was sitting front and center, she just made you feel like the most important person, really, even in the midst of the craziest days. So, I miss seeing you there, but your spirit is alive and well. We have Deborah Doherty we are going to honor with Sam Walker.
Good evening, friends and family. I am truly honored to represent this wonderful woman who's been part of this Fairport community for 23 years, Mrs. Doherty. A person that we recognize tonight as a well-rounded lady and a joy to be around. From being the assistant principal secretary of the Red House office to substituting in the nurse's office now, she is almost like everybody's mom at the school due to her dedication and influence among her coworkers and students. All she does is care about others. She told me, it's more than a job, or I wouldn't be driving back and forth from my house in Irondequoit for the last 23 years. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about her upbringing and how she became this highly praised and trusted woman. At the luncheon, I asked her where she went to college. Her answer was, I didn't. I was surprised because she is so accomplished. Mrs. Doherty grew up in the city and attended East High School. She was raised by her single mother and lives with her 2 brothers and 3 sisters. When she was young, she worked as a baker at the East Avenue Wegmans, which I thought was so cool because I work at Wegmans as a cashier. A little connection there. Growing up, Mrs. Doherty wanted to help her mom as soon as she could. So in her senior year, she took a co-op program and worked at the bank for half her day. She landed a job out of high school right away and worked at the bank for 19 years. When the bank closed down, she made a decision that was a major turning point in her life. She told her husband, Michael, I want to work at a school. It seemed like this position at Fairport was made for her. Not only did she become part of the greatness of Fairport High School, but she was also in charge of the various Fairport clubs' financial reports. She liked doing the important behind-the-scenes work of keeping up with the balances, audits, and checks of those clubs, just like she did at the bank. As someone who wants to be an accountant, my eyes lit up. We both had the connection of looking at those things as something black and white and fun to do. Talking about her job, not only did she meet lifelong friends like Donna, Lindsay, and Marilyn, but she was also mentored by fabulous people such as Joy Tiberio, a secretary at the school. Joy told her the key to being a successful secretary: people are going to get mad, people are going to be angry, stay calm, and do the job the best you can. Mrs. Doherty certainly exceeded expectations. Everyone had appreciation for her, even the so-called trouble kids at the school. One thing Mrs. Doherty loved was dealing with the kids who came into the office, and she knew they weren't there to pick up the Student of the Week award. Not only did Mrs. D listen to the kids, but she calmed them down before they approached the principal's door. Everyone makes mistakes in life and gets frustrated by them. To someone who listened to you in times of uncertainty means the world to a student. When those kids walked out the principal's door and said thank you to her, it made her day. Finally, Mrs. D is all about family. I want to give a quick shout out to her husband Michael, son Patrick, daughter Amanda, daughter-in-law Julia, son-in-law Ryan, and their 3 grandchildren, Vivian, Emerson, and Charlotte. Mrs. D now enjoys the role of being a grandma and watches her granddaughter Vivian 3 days a week. So I guess you can say that retirement is going pretty well for her. In conclusion, you can see why Mrs. Doherty is being inducted tonight. During our brief luncheon, I enjoyed getting to know a bit about this amazing lady and making connections with her. I'm very happy and humbled to represent such an incredible woman whose career has made such an important impact on our school and community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. And whenever things are going on, and there's lots of things going on in main offices, it's always reassuring, and it always has been reassuring to see Deb Doherty there, again, with her great sense of humor, with her willingness to contribute. She just makes people feel good. And she loves, what's our college now? Where's your son at? Arkansas. He's at Razorback. There you go. I have the pleasure to bring up Mr. Aiden Sachs to speak about Mr. Rich Green.
Okay. Sorry. Richard? I'm tired. Shame.
Mr. Rich Green retired in June 2020 after 16 years as the principal at Jefferson Avenue School. He brought students, staff, and family together through music, humor, and love. During the COVID-19 school closure, Mr. Green created morning announcements each day. Every day, he offered songs, jokes, positive quotes, student recognitions, and videos or pictures of students, which is just one example of how former colleagues say he is able to think outside the box and turn any situation into something positive for children and their families. Another example of how he served the Fairport community is through reading books to children and playing music with kids. A former JA coworker said, "Rich puts children first at all times. He encourages teachers to follow their hearts and to do what they know is best for his children. He cares for others and shows this through consistently listening and offering support in all circumstances." Mr. Green's career path was not always in the administration sector. A little known fact is that while he was working as a teacher at LSB Hyde Elementary School in Danville, New York, he was pushed towards following an administration path by Miss Nancy Hussey, who was the principal at the time and actually put a flyer about an administration program in his school mailbox. While at Fairport, Mr. Green said that some people that were foundational to his career path were Dr. Calla, Mr. Brett Provenzano, and the office staff at JA, including Yo Parnell, Mary Detman, Lynn Manuel, and Amy Busby. Through his administration career, he's learned that conveying the most important idea is critical, and that love is one of them to convey because it helps shape the students and people around them. As we talked, we agreed that creating a safe environment in school may help those who have struggles outside of school. Some people that were influential and important in his development to be the person he is today is his wife Kathy, his kids Nevada and Dallas, his daughter-in-law Katie, his mom Joanne, and his brothers and sister, who all shaped him and pushed him forward. His coworkers say Rich was an amazing leader at JA and is greatly missed by staff, students, and families. In addition, he's dedicated to education and the betterment of the whole student. In learning and throughout, Mr. Green admits that he misses all the great interactions and experiences in school with students. But now in retirement, he's pursued other hobbies, including voice acting, playing and learning new music. He's also got to do some of the things that he couldn't get to do before. And it's my honor to induct Mr. Green to the Wall of Distinction for all his innumerable impacts and accomplishments throughout.
Very well done. Thank you, Aiden. You're a very good listener. Ooh, shiny. Thanks so much.
Rich is the coolest principal I know. And I just remember the first time I met him. And that's when you know, like when somebody's made an impact on you, you know exactly where you were and what you were doing when I met you. We were in Florida.
Yeah.
He was, what are you guys doing in Florida? We were at a conference and I had just gotten the job and he was this cool JA principal. But he just, was a mentor to me because he taught me to have fun by being a principal.
I think you already knew that.
Well, you gave me permission to. And you let me sing with you. I'll never forget that. That was, I have the great pleasure to introduce Sarah Grover, who will be speaking to Kate Carr and then introducing Mr. John Kidd. Sarah.
Good evening, family, friends, and supporters of tonight's Wall of Distinction inductees. My name is Sarah Grover, and I have been given the honor to introduce to you Kate Carr. Unfortunately, Mrs. Carr couldn't be here tonight as she and her family relocated after her retirement from our district. However, she is here in spirit, and we wanted to take a moment to honor a person who left a lasting impact on our community. Kate Carr was a Fairport High School English teacher and alternative education coordinator who worked in the district for 15 years before her retirement in 2020. Mrs. Carr's commitment to her students was evident daily as she often challenged students with project-based learning that expanded their English skills and 21st century technology skills. Like many of our honorees here tonight, Mrs. Carr made incredible connections with Fairport students. She was student-centered in every way possible. Mrs. Carr had dedicated the past few years to ensure all of our alternative education students had access to things that many of the other students may have taken for granted. She treated all of her students, and particularly those who needed it most, as if they were her own children. She led with quiet strength and modeled kindness, patience, and compassion in everything she did for our district. A fellow Fairport High School colleague said, "Kate possesses selflessness, empathy, and creativity, all values that we celebrate in our Fairport community." In addition to her work in our district, Mrs. Carr raised her two boys, Stanley and Jordan, and she was quite active in many organizations that her sons were involved in. Kate Carr's influence on our school community is immeasurable, and her friendship with both students and staff will be cherished forever. Congratulations on this honor, Mrs. Carr. And now, allow me the honor to introduce to you John Kidd, Head Director of Transportation at the Fairport Central School District Bus Garage. Mr. Kidd has been involved at Fairport Transportation since 1995. Believe it or not, he was a Pittsford Sutherland graduate and competed on the swim team, leading him to become a swimmer in college. His team needed a bus driver to transport them all the way down to Fort Lauderdale for tournaments, so Mr. Kidd stepped up to get his commercial driver's license. Having this unique credential created a world of opportunities, allowing him to eventually acquire a job here in Fairport. "Once I walked in and said I was licensed, they wouldn't let me leave," he explained, while telling me about their hiring process. Thereafter, he became a bus driver full-time for 15 years while raising his two sons. In 2010, he was promoted to safety coordinator and just recently received the role as head director of transportation. No one really appreciates the dedication and hard work that's unveiled by our Fairport family at the bus garage. Mr. Kidd specifically can say that he will occasionally run into people he drove to school 20 years ago at Wegmans and they still recognize him and thank him for being such a kind influence. His focus has always been to connect with his kids and bring a smiling face into their lives, since you never know what one may be going through behind the scenes. This charisma goes to show John's absolute love and satisfaction that his occupation brings him, which is a quality that not many people can portray, and a quality that has been absolutely imperative on our school bus system for the past 26 years. Mr. Kidd would like to sincerely thank his high school sweetheart and now wife, Laura, for always being his best friend and rock star, as well as the rest of his family. He would also mention dozens of Fairport staff for always extending their gratitude and forming lasting friendships, specifically Leanna Watt, Rich Green, and Peter Lawrence. I personally would like to thank Mr. Kidd for his commitment to keeping Fairport in motion every day, safely and with adoration. Congratulations on this honor.
How about Sophie? Two great speeches. Kate is pretty special. Kate Carr, the investment that she had in our kids. You would see her at all sorts of different hours, all sorts of different days, helping kids achieve and be the best version of themselves. John, he never says no. Never says. We come to him with all sorts of impossible scenarios and problem-solving opportunities, and that's what he sees it as, an opportunity, and that's what makes him so welcoming and engaging and worthy of this, and that's just going to make him a great director of transportation. Congratulations. I would like to ask Tori Wilson to come and share her thoughts on Amy Samuel.
Amy Samuel, who most people call Vern, has been a school sentry here at Fairport High School for about 17 years now. She used to work full-time, but now she is a part-time sentry and takes care of her 3 grandkids. Mrs. Samuel started working in Fairport in 2004. She became a lunch monitor after a friend encouraged her to come in and help out. That's when she discovered her passion for assisting others. Mrs. Samuel is the eyes and ears of Fairport High School. She is always ready for any and all things. She helps students with a variety of needs, big or small. From talking to students about their day to helping kids in crisis, Mrs. Samuel always walks through the doors with a smiling face and caring heart. Mrs. Samuel has a few key moments in her life that she is extremely proud of, one of which was about 12 years ago when she was helping students as a crossing guard. While she was in the middle of holding up her stop sign, preparing kids to walk, a garbage truck was about to run the red light. So she ran into the street and pulled the kids back in, saving them from getting hit. Her ability to think fast and be courageous has proven to be highly impactful here in our Fairport community. Mrs. Samuel has lots of special memories here at FHS, one of which is coming into work and connecting with fellow monitors and talking with students, learning about their lives. A few things you should know about Mrs. Samuel is that she is extremely family-oriented. With 3 kids and 3 grandkids of her own, plus her students, she takes pride in being a role model and a responsible adult for those who look up to her. She loves to cook, and she loves people, which is shown through her acts of altruism. Mrs. Samuel has a few people that she would like to thank for molding her into the leader that she is today. She says thank you to her parents, Ralph and Amy Fernase, for being her role models, her husband, Rich, and her 3 children, Taylor, Evan, and Meredith, for helping her to learn patience, and all of her coworkers, and of course, any and all FHS workers and students. With that being said, I would like to share a few words from Mrs. Samuel. She says, "No matter what, I want to be a light for those who don't have a positive influence because somebody out there needs it. I try to pep talk myself into being a better version of myself than yesterday. My talk with Mrs. Samuel has already impacted me in many ways. Her powerful words have made me want to become the best version of myself and continue being a light for others and promoting care values in my everyday life. So thank you to Mrs. Samuel for showing me what it means to be a Fairport leader, and congratulations on your outstanding achievement.
Amazing. Excellent job, Tori. You know, Amy, it's just amazing to see you. Like, you're in the red zone, right? And she's leading the red zone. She's cheering kids on, but then you see her off to the corner talking to a student, right? Or you come in the hallways and you see her interacting with kids looking to find her. And that's just reassuring. It takes everyone, and we're proud to work with you, Amy. We now have Julia Finkbeiner to talk about the special talents and gifts and contributions of Mike Callahan. Julia.
I have the honor of introducing Mr. Mike Callahan. Mr. Callahan is a professional square dance caller who has been part of the Fairport physical education curriculum for over 35 years. He just retired and is very well known for his annual Hoedown Showdown competitions every year at Fairport High School. Mike incorporates teamwork, cooperation, acceptance of all, and working towards success through square dance. A Fairport staff member says of Mike, although some FHS students are hesitant about dancing in the beginning, most end up loving the square dancing unit and the final competition at FHS. Former students and graduating seniors have hired Mike to call square dancing at their graduation parties. Says an FHS staff member of Mike, students love him and his impact on student fitness is immeasurable. Mike's positive energy and professionalism has always been a highlight for our staff and students. Mike grew up in Shiloh and attended Aquinas High School. He went on to receive a bachelor's degree in English from St. John Fisher College. After college, he worked at a bank for 2 years and served in the Army, stationed in Germany. He eventually decided to pursue his passion for square dance calling as a career. Mike was hired to work with Fairport students in the late 80s, and every year since then, he's been sharing his talents and love for square dancing with each school in the district. Mr. Callahan's career stretches far beyond Fairport, as he has called in Alaska 3 times, as well as Australia and Germany. Mr. Callahan's favorite part about working with Fairport schools is how hilarious the staff members are. He values the connections he's been able to make with the physical education staff, as well as many students who he says have always been friendly and willing to chat. Mr. Callahan is extremely proud to be recognized for this distinction and says that this is the best award he's ever received. He would like to thank his wife for all of her support over the years. I speak on behalf of all students and staff at Fairport when I say Mr. Callahan has made an extremely positive impact on our community. The joy he brings to our district by sharing his love for square dancing is unmatched, and the memories students have made with him over the years will be cherished forever. Congratulations, Mr. Callahan.
Yeah. I'm kind of the outsider here because I didn't grow up in Fairport. I didn't go to Fairport High School, and we don't live in Fairport. But when I came here to do the square dancing, I was so well received by the kids, by the staff, by the administration, that I felt this was almost like my second home. So I really appreciate this award, and as Julia said, it's one of the highlights of my career. Thank you.
I mean, it's a gift to get like middle school kids, right? Do-si-doing and excited. I mean, hoedown, showdowns. Then you go to the high school and there's this energy that you have never ever seen before. Yesterday, I was just had a brief moment, and generally that was really authentic. Mike was truly overwhelmed. This doesn't happen in other communities. Were his exact words, right? We're in a special community We do special things. Behind every great event, there's an amazing educator. Thank you. We would ask Maggie Donner now to speak to the energy and positive spirit of Midge Marshall.
I am honored to speak about Midge Marshall. Midge Marshall was the head of the Fairport High School theater department and taught English, theater, and advanced theater before her retirement. In her nomination, a former student said, "She demanded excellence and hard work from her students, and she rewarded them with respect, honesty, and community." Mrs. Marshall connected with her students with industry professionals, arranged job shadowing sessions, and encouraged collaborations with her students at other schools. She was well respected by her department and is still adored by her legions of theater disciples. A former student says that Mrs. Marshall saw the potential in all of her students and refused to accept anything less than their best efforts, and that she inspired and expected greatness. Mrs. Marshall grew up in Watkins Glen and attended Cornell University. She applied to many jobs, but at the time, Fairport High School wanted to develop a theater program. Having the only theater background, Mrs. Marshall was hired. She went on to create an amazing theater class and program, which put on 3 shows a year, all of which she directed, I might add. She also founded the Downstage team, and she has fun memories with all her witty Downstage students. Her legacy is shown in her students, who have gone on to become teachers, develop film companies, and gone into theater. In retirement, Mrs. Marshall is teaching composition classes at Nazareth and RIT. She also does ballroom dancing twice a week, which she finds to be fun, and I do too. Mrs. Marshall would like to thank her actors, student directors, techies, and downstagers for giving her such wonderful memories with her time at Fairport. I'm personally so happy and honored to celebrate Mrs. Marshall here tonight. Mrs. Marshall, on behalf of the students you influenced throughout your career at Fairport, thank you for the dedication to the growth of the theater program. Above all, thank you for your commitment to Fairport kids in our community. Thank you so much.
I've heard about Midge for years, and to finally meet her, the energy when she walks into a room, she lights up the room. And it was for a moment that I've had the pleasure to meet her, and I will remember my first time that I meet you, always. I would like to ask Mahogany Bailey to speak to the enduring traits of Miss Joan Rogers.
Good evening. I am so honored to be here and to share with you what amazing things I've learned about Joan Rogers and why she was chosen to be on the Wall of Distinction. Joan Rogers is Fairport born and raised. Even her children attended Fairport. Joan has been a part of the Fairport family for what seems like forever and has worked in the Fairport Central School District for 18 years. She works as a teacher's aide in the ADEPT program. She has worked in both the elementary and high school buildings. So she has the opportunity to watch the students she's known for years grow up and graduate Fairport High School. In fact, seeing students that she has been with since kindergarten is one of Joan's proudest moments. Joan loves working at Fairport and getting to spend time with her students, especially during field days, Brotherhood Sisterhood Week, and field trips, because she gets to see another side to her students' personalities. Aside from that, her favorite part about Fairport is the variety of students, classrooms, and teachers that she gets to work with. Her job is like no other and is far from mundane as you can imagine, but Joan's patience, kind heart, and love for her work keeps her going through the toughest of times. Over the years, Joan has shared many incredible memories with our students and staff, from making pizza and garlic knots with Mr. Clark to the end of the year ADEPT program barbecue. Joan adores her family and has 2 kids who she stays in touch with all the time. Every part of her Fairport career has been special because of the family that she has here. Joan cannot be more grateful for the staff who lend a helpful hand or offer a sympathetic ear. Everyone who she's worked with has left a positive impression on her life, and she appreciates all of her Fairport family. Joan would love to thank Mr. Clark, Leanna Watt, Cece Ferris, Miss McGrath, and anyone else who she's worked with for being an amazing support system for her. Through our conversation, I learned so much about Joan Rogers, and I can say with confidence that she has left me with the positive impression that she has shared with so many Fairport students and staff. Please join me in congratulating Joan Rogers.
Well done, Mahogany. Patience, kind-hearted. That's how I see Mrs. Rogers. I have to tell you, like, I worked with Joan at Johanna Perrin early on, and learning about care and investment and putting your heart and soul, that's what I remember about you. Always willing to do things for children and your colleagues. You're always here. I think I saw you so many times during the pandemic when we were on hybrid schedules, Wednesday afternoons. Thank you for always being here for our children. We have, oh, well, yeah, you're here. Okay. I was wondering, I was stalling, you know. Ever Gavalis is going to speak about Bill Tiberio. Ever.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce someone who needs no introduction. Mr. Bill Tiberio, a longtime instrumental music teacher here at FHS, a true Fairport icon and an integral part of our community. He has been teaching here for over 30 years, fostering joy through the art of music. Growing up in the village of Fairport and a 1980 FHS graduate, Mr. Tiberio is excited to be a member of such a vibrant and positive community, a place where students are recognized for their many talents outside of the classroom, whether it be athletics, the arts, or music, of course. Reflecting on his upbringing in the district, Mr. T has seen firsthand the impact Brotherhood Sisterhood Week has had on the district. The more open, accepting, and friendly environment the school has now makes him proud to see the progress that has been made. Majoring in clarinet at Ithaca College and later getting his master's in music education at Fredonia, Mr. Tiberio is a distinguished instrumentalist in his own respect. His personal music endeavor, the Bill Tiberio Band, has played a variety of venues throughout the Rochester area, bringing the sound of jazz to listeners far and wide. One of his proudest moments was when the song Joy, written in memory of his mother, was arranged for the FHS Jazz Band. The song has been played at graduation each year since, and is a constant reminder of the influence music has. Some of his many roles at Fairport include conducting the sophomore, concert, and jazz bands, teaching music lessons, as well as conducting the pit orchestra for FHS musicals. In addition to teaching at Fairport, he is an adjunct professor at Ithaca College, Geneseo, and the University of Rochester, directing a variety of ensembles at each school. His dedication to teaching music is evident. Often, days consist of going from FHS to a different campus for an evening class, calling for late nights and early mornings. On teaching college students, Mr. Tiberio is glad to be able to impact some of the future music educators of the nation, passing on his torch of knowledge and expertise. As far as that knowledge and expertise goes, Mr. T was recently named Best Rochester Music Teacher by City Magazine, is on the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, is a recipient of the Crystal Apple Award, and has been nominated 2 times for the Grammy Music Educator Award, among other honors. Above all, Mr. Tiberio would like to recognize those who have influenced him and contributed to where he is today. He would like to thank his father, who he owes everything to, as well as his 3 children, Sarah, Ben, and Jordy, all of whom are still involved in the arts. In addition, he would like to thank Mr. Provenzano and Mr. Clark for their committed leadership throughout the years. Some additional influences include John Baines, Dave Paddock, Fred Sturm, and Jim Nowak, all of whom impacted him greatly. He would additionally like to thank everyone who continues to make the Fairport Music Program what it is, with groups being widely recognized for their high-quality musicianship. He is still just as excited now to be teaching music as he was when he started, and while giving so much to students, he is constantly learning from them each day. Thank you, Mr. T, for all that you do, the joy you bring to our lives, and congratulations on this honor.
we have Rich Green and Bill Tiber. We can have a party. It would be great. I got to tell you, Bill talks about the soul quotient. What's your soul quotient? What is in your heart and what is in your soul? And, whenever I see him, I think of that. I also think about the fact that at moment's notice, it could be 11 o'clock at night and you could pop up with a nice little jam that he's going to share with you about it's inspiring. During the pandemic and darkest of nights, there he would be, and it would lift you up. And it's an honor to know someone just like you, Bill. I would like to have Sophie Sartari please come forward and speak about Mr. Jim Zumbo, our very last honoree tonight. Sophie.
Good evening. Jim Zumbo was the district's director of physical education, health, and athletics from 1996 to 2016. He still supports Fairport students, athletes, coaches, and faculty in retirement. He enjoys watching the games, but values connecting with the spectators as well. He attends as many Fairport events as possible. Jim has helped create a winning culture here at Fairport. Jim is always willing to help when anyone asks. His dedication to the athletic program led to the Red Raider Award being named in his honor in 2016. The Red Raider Award is given to the athlete that, in the opinion of the coach, best demonstrated the spirit, skill, desire, leadership, courage, and sportsmanship on their team. According to a former coworker, Jim always has a positive word to say to everyone and makes everyone feel welcome. Jim is proud of his accomplishments at Fairport, such as the improvements to the school's athletic facilities and the growth of girls' sports. He would like to thank tonight all the coaches and teachers who have helped him over the years. He would also like to thank Coach Torelli for his guidance and friendship over the years. Lastly, Jim thanks his family for acclimating to the demanding lifestyle of high school sports. He understands the sacrifices they've made to support him over the years. He is thankful for their love and commitment. Jim Zumbo's legacy will long be remembered here at Fairport. He is every athlete's biggest fan. I am so happy to honor Jim Zumbo tonight. He's united our community through its love of sports and teamwork. As an athlete, I am thankful for the many initiatives he's taken to strengthen our programs. Fairport Athletics would not be the same without your impact. Thank you for letting me share this with you and your family as you're inducted to the Wall of Distinction. Congratulations.
Like I said, you remember somebody who's impacted you by the first time you ever met or seen him. And I remember I was a coach in another district. And I used to come to Fairport. And I remember getting off the bus, and there he always was. Always was. I was a modified coach at some points, too. And he was at the modified games. We'd get our butts kicked half the time. But then you come and you meet Jim Zumbo up close and personal. He is such a personable, caring, and I think, Sophie, you said it perfect. He's every athlete's biggest fan. And he's still doing that. I had the pleasure of sitting with him yesterday at the boys' soccer game and other competitions. So it's a pleasure knowing you. I would like to ask our wonderful student speakers, all please stand up. Sophie, Sam, Aiden, Sarah, Tori, Julia, Maggie, Mahogany, Ever, and Sophie. To just meet our wonderful honorees, inductees tonight, and to be able to pointedly share the essence of who they are is a true gift, and it speaks to your talent, your brilliance, and your willingness to give back. And we learned a lot from you. Thank you very much, our students. And so, the education wall of distinction lives on as those early implementers envisioned. Tonight, we pay tribute to our professional educators who have brought light and life to our schools with an unmatched compassion, care, and awareness. These culture carriers, and that's who you are, your culture carriers, have fully embraced the sacred mantle of being called educators with so much class, style, and Fairport pride. Congratulations. To those loved ones who are here with us tonight, this is your night too. Thank you for sharing our honorees with us. The countless hours, you know what that's about. The early mornings, the late nights, the sleepless nights, and commitment of being a professional educator certainly does not happen without sacrifice and a greater understanding from a caring and loving family. This is your award too. Please, let's give them a big round of applause. Amy, Deborah, John, Kate, Patrice, Bill, Jim, Joan, Midge, and Mike, you are succeeding greatly and gracefully, leaving your imprint on the rich legacy and dynamic tapestry of our incredible district. We are proud again to call you colleagues and friends. Thank you for sharing your uniqueness and richness of heart. It has distinguished your persona and professional practice and bears your passions to make a difference in Fairport and, most importantly, to the lives of others. We thank you. And now I have the privilege of introducing New York State Assembly Representative Jennifer Lunsford for closing.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this very, very special night. And before I begin, can we just give one more round of applause to these incredible student leaders? Truly, the poise of some of these students is so impressive, and that is a testament to this community. This is such a meaningful evening because what you're seeing is the ecosystem that schools operate in. As someone who has a lot of different ways that I interact with schools, through the parents, through the students, through the teachers, through the superintendents, I see how important it is from the outside that a team works together. And over the last 18 months, we've seen how challenging it can be to make change and to roll with the times and to protect our students and our teachers and our families. And I want to applaud everyone here in this room for being a part of making that happen, for making sure that our students were insulated from the worst of this pandemic, and for ensuring that everyone here got a safe, quality education over the last 2 years. So thank you. When I was preparing for tonight, I asked my staff what I should talk about, and they said, why don't you talk about your favorite teacher? And I said, I can't, because I have like 15 favorite teachers. You might be surprised to learn that I was a bit of a nerd. And every year, from preschool with Ms. Barbara through law school with Professor Pettit, I had a teacher or a counselor or a secretary like Ms. Napoli, who I can stand here 38 years later and tell you about Ms. Napoli, who impacted me. And I was a very, very shy kid, very quiet. I wouldn't say my own name. When I was in 2nd grade, I switched school districts. And my first teacher in my new school district was Mrs. Stein. And Mrs. Stein saw this quiet girl. And she taught me to write poetry. And through that, she gave me a voice that I didn't have. And I carried that with me through college, where I was eventually published in a poetry anthology. And when I was in 5th grade, I had Mr. Julian. Mr. Julian taught me about the Constitution. And he taught me about justice. And he lit in me a fire that still burns today. And I went on to law school, where I won the Dean's Award in Constitutional Law. And I think about Mr. Julian nearly every day. And when I was in 6th grade, I had Mr. Jacobs, who put me inexplicably in the lead role of the 6th grade play. When I tell you I couldn't look my aunt and uncle in the eye and say my name, I was this super weird, too tall girl, and I know you're like, too tall. I'm 5'5" now, but I was also 5'5" then. And that's real weird in 6th grade. And I did this play. And it cracked me open. And it gave me a confidence that's brought me to the New York State Legislature and allowing me to speak to a group of strangers with no notes in front of me today. Because that's what educators do. That's what secretaries and sentries and theater directors and music teachers do. They crack you open and they make you a better version of the person you know you can be. They build you up and make you one of these students who can stand here today and give speeches like they gave. And that's why we need to honor every individual who has an impact on our community, who has an impact on our students, on our colleagues. Because that's one thing, I heard so much about how these members of the Fairport community impacted each other. And I loved hearing that. And I'm so proud to stand here today. It makes me wish I'd gone to Fairport. And I want to thank all of you. This is an incredible honor, and I hope that I get to come back again, because this has filled me with joy. It has warmed my heart, and I hope it has warmed yours as well. So if you could all join me one more time and congratulate all of the recipients of this honor tonight. Thank you.
Jen Lunsford, ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a big round of applause. I have a couple more superintendent conference days. You can come and give that great speech again. That was pretty amazing, really inspiring, and I think you captured the essence of the evening. We are concluding this evening's celebration. We're grateful for everyone to come out tonight to celebrate our incredible inductees. There will be a reception at the Wall of Distinction, which is in the back of the building. I'm sure we'll be following the crowd as you take your pictures and enjoy these moments. But thank you for coming. Thank you for celebrating this very important night in our Fairport Central Schools. Please drive safely. And once again, we look forward to seeing you at the reception and throughout the year. Be safe and be well.
What a great thing. I know, it's okay. It's okay. I need to do that.